Women. Don't they make everything better?
Welcome back to Goody Graps.
Hey guys, we're back, and today we're talking about our top 10 favorite female wrestlers.
Top 10 favorite female wrestlers. Now, if you've seen our top 10 male wrestler video, there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of backstory. I feel like me mostly, rambled a lot about all this history and love that I have for people. This video is unfortunately going to be a lot shorter. Not due to these women themselves. Blame Vince McMahon for not taking women's wrestling seriously.
There is no shortage of talent on the women's roster, but for years and years and years and years, there has been a shortage of representation and good storylines and titles and opportunities for female wrestlers. So
that's not to say that the Divas era wasn't fire. Like I got some, and I know that like since I have more people that I wanted to like get my honorable mentions, I'll just knock them out at the beginning. They're probably not gonna appear on your list, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mickie James. I want to give a shout out to Kelly Kelly, Candice Michelle, Eve Torres, and Paige Saraya. I know she's still active in AEW, as well as Toni Storm, who I think might have been the best women's wrestler of 2024. It's common opinion there, but like she killed it, doing great things over in AEW. But the women that we have listed are our top 10 favorites. So Casey, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, coming in strong. My number 10 pick is Nia Jax.
I'm not like most girls. You see me. What a woman.
Yeah, what a woman. Nia's incredible. She's a great wrestler. She has had this cool like back and forth with Tiffany Stratton going on, which has been fun to see. I feel like I've gotten to see Nia be like the baby face and the heel a little bit in the past year. And I just think she's awesome. Like I think Nia's super cool.
Yeah, and she's so pretty. And
yeah.
So funny.
Nia's gorgeous.
We got to go to a live event because all I ever see are clips of Nia being the funniest
she's always
person
like joking around.
And like her TikToks and stuff with Tiffy and Shayna Baszler. She's just so funny.
She's funny.
Shout out Nia Jax. When you punched Becky Lynch in the face, you like single-handedly made one of the most iconic moments in women's wrestling history. And without you, there's no telling what would have happened. So shout out Nia Jax. Also, we should throw that round of applause in for her recent title reign. Hell of a reign, I think. You really, in her first run, there's a lot of people who had very, very critical things to say about her. But she's very much like shown her growth and shut a lot of people up this run. And that title run was amazing. So shout out to Nia Jax.
Queen.
My number 10 is somebody that Nia Jax defeated this summer to become Queen of the Ring. And it might be a little premature, but like I like who I like, and she's my favorite active current wrestler, women's wrestler, Lyra Valkyria. Love like everything about her presentation since NXT. Big fan of like the woos and the bird thing. Like she's super athletic. Like I like her diving leg drop. She's so pretty as well.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Just I can't wait to see everything that's to come with Lyra, and I'm rooting for you big time. Love you too, Dakota, but I'm rooting for Lyra to be our inaugural women's Intercontinental champion.
Yeah. Sick. Nia Jax was my number 10, so close ahead of her at number 9 is Tiffany Stratton.
What time is it?
It's Tiffy time. Yeah, Tiffy, we have all been waiting for her to cash in for a long time, it feels like. I guess it really hasn't been that long, but it feels like forever. Because there have been so many opportunities where it would have been great, but I think it was also great the way it happened. But yeah, I love Tiffy as a wrestler. She's super talented. I've never seen like so many cool moonsaults. She just like can do anything. Like she's aerially talented. She's like graps wise super good too. Yeah. And I think it was cool to see her finally get her like moment over Nia. So that was awesome.
I think she's the closest thing that we've seen so far to Bianca from like a standpoint of just like she can do all the aerial things. She's also like really strong and like can be like a believable powerhouse at times. I want to see her add some more power to her game actually, because if you like look at her, she's ripped like to shreds. She's a gymnast, former gymnast, and she's only been doing this for a handful of years. Like it's still beyond me. Like one of the biggest success stories of like the PC and the training that they're currently doing with like the college athletes.
Yeah.
So like big shouts to Tiffy Time. Congrats on the recent title. Congrats on the recent title victory.
Yo, recent title, Tiffy.
Congrats, and I can't wait to see all that comes out of your reign. But my number 9 is somebody. There's rumblings that maybe we'll see her again sometime soon, but it'd be wishful thinking. Even if we never see her again, a legend in and out of the business. April Mendez Brooks, AJ Lee. She is. When I was growing up watching, like I know a lot of credit is given to Charlotte and Becky and Sasha for the women's revolution, and even to like Nikki Bella as like someone who was like not a forefather, like what is the woman's version? A foremother?
Foremother.
As one of like the founding pieces of the women's revolution. But AJ Lee was the first woman of like the Divas era that I can think of that was given like time to like cut promos. She was the general manager of Raw. She had the love interest storylines with Dolph, with Punk, with Cena, with Bryan, with like everyone. She was just like so magnetic of a character. She was like one of the most over women on the roster. As like you could slot her anywhere. She had a legendary run as the women's Divas champion. She the rivalry she had with Paige, I think, was like very instrumental in like the early parts of what would become the women's revolution. And we really miss her. Like I feel like she retired rather young, and there's like a whole generation of dream matches of people that we want to see fight AJ. So AJ, if you're watching this, we would love nothing more than to see you back in a ring again. Your husband is out all the time. You and Larry can definitely like come on out and just continue to give us some more magic moments.
Definitely. Wait, what number was that?
That was number 9.
Number 9. Okay. My number 8 is Piper Niven.
What a woman.
Yeah, what a woman. Piper is super cool. Another like powerhouse. I feel like she is always like just dominating whoever she's fighting, and she has a cool, fun friendship with Chelsea Green as well. That's been like fun to watch, and yeah.
I love a character that's a supportive friend on like just whether it's kayfabe,
She
whether
is
it's
a supportive
like I feel like no, she's a huge supportive friend too. Like Piper is a lovely woman, and I think that her run, like the feud that she got with Bayley going into Clash of the Castle, like she showed people that she is more than just like a tag wrestler. She has everything that like you need to hang in the main event scene. And I hope that she gets her like run with some singles gold like Chelsea does, because they both are just like underrated in what they bring to the women's division. And I think that Piper is another person who like has the brightest future, and just I can't wait to see what happens with her. My number 8 is somebody who has been gone for a little bit. We miss her, but like I hope to see her soon. Maybe as soon as the Royal Rumble. It is Alexa Bliss, Little Miss Bliss, 5 Feet of Fury. Alexa Bliss. So she wasn't really like as highly regarded as like the 4 Horsewomen girls in NXT around the same time. So Becky, Sasha, Charlotte, Bayley, when they were getting called up, it was kind of the expectation that they were going to be like some of the faces of the division to build around. But Alexa Bliss showed up and just like snatched Becky's chain, and it was like fire. Like, and I love Becky, but like it was so fire to watch in real time because she was so good on the mic. She was the perfect little like mean girl, mean blonde cheerleader type, like who's just like, I'm mean, I make sassy little faces. Like it was something that's like straight out of like a CW show. Like you're just like, this girl's an antagonist, and she's like so just rude for no reason. And she's like little. She's little and rude, and like her little finisher, the Twisted Bliss, just looked cool. And yeah, she's fire. She's fire. So shout out Alexa. Hope to see her back soon. I think she pulled off some cool stuff when she was with Bray Wyatt doing the spooky Alexa Bliss character too.
Yeah.
I loved her tag team with Nikki, and like just like showing a different side of Nikki that like I feel like Nikki got typecast into being like the crazy girl, and she never really could interact with the other members of the roster without like being in some crazy thing. And it's just like their friendship seemed like so genuine and authentic. And like I feel like Alexa's had a couple different tag pairings that she's like brought some good stuff out of her partner. But yeah, can't wait to see her back.
Love it. My number 7 is someone who has also been gone for a little while. But I think she's going to be returning any day now.
Imminently.
Any day now. Is Jade Cargill. Yeah.
She's so fire.
Yeah.
She's so fire.
Jade's amazing. And I know, or like at least it's my understanding, she hasn't been doing this for very long.
Yeah, this is something that she's picked up recently. Like she started off in AEW. She's one of like their homegrown success stories, and had a run where she was undefeated. I think for like 2 whole years, was their women's like TBS champion. And when she dropped that title, it was like on her way out coming to WWE. That's the only loss that she's had, I think.
Yeah, she's incredible. Love seeing her as a tag team partner with Bianca, but I would love to see her do anything by herself. Yeah, I think she could fight anybody. I think she could beat anybody. I honestly maybe even would like to see her turn on Bianca. But that's a story for another episode.
Oh, dude, I think Jade she's got superstar written all over her. Like, she just looks like $1 million, and she has worked tirelessly since, like, getting to... I'm not going to say since getting to the WWE, because she was working hard in AEW as well. And she's, like, constantly been improving at her craft, and I think that, like, the sky's the limit. She's one of those people who, like... She's so big and so popular that she's going to, like, transcend the WWE as well. I know, like, there's people who, during her time in AEW, tuned in to see the Jade match. Like, that's how big she is. And her name's only going to get bigger. Like, I expect her to be a big part of Netflix. I expect her to just, like, get a lot of opportunities to shine this year. But, yeah, my number 7 is someone else that I think could also arguably be my favorite active women's wrestler at the moment. And when I was making this list, I had to like talk myself out of putting her. Like, she could easily have fallen anywhere on this list from number 1 to number 7. And I think that says a lot about like how I feel about every woman in my top 7. But my number 7 is Io Sky. The genius of this guy. She's the best women's wrestler in the world today, in my opinion. There's something that's just so insanely likable about her. You can look at her and see that like this is her passion. She loves doing this, and she's so good at it. She's just so good. Like, everything she does is so smooth. Even when she messes up, she makes it look natural, like unbelievably athletic, and just like exciting and just eye-catching. And like she reminds me of like a female like Rey Mysterio. And like, when I was a kid watching Rey Mysterio, that's like if I was a kid in the crowd, that would be like the thing I left like the most shock and awe from. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what they just did in this match. And I think she does that like on a weekly basis, and it's just enough good things can be said about Io.
Definitely. Yeah, she's the genius of the sky.
So we're down to number 6 now.
Number 6. My number 6 is Liv Morgan.
Former women's world champion. If you're seeing this and it's after the Raw Netflix debut, congrats to Liv.
Liv had a great year. I think she deserves all the success she's had. Not her first time being a champion, but she's just had an incredible year, and she was also a huge part of this Netflix promotion all year. And yeah, it's just been really cool to see her have her moment, and everybody, giving her the flowers she deserves.
Definitely. I think Liv had her... 2024 was the year that Liv was the main girl. And I feel like for years, like, it's been the story of she's almost there. Like, she's the runner-up in the Women's Royal Rumble, I think, back-to-back years. She was probably, like, finished second. She was a runner-up in the Elimination Chamber, and it's just like she's almost right there, but she's not on Becky's level. She's not on Rhea's level. And I think this year was like her ascent to like, hey, I'm not only like here, not only can I hang with them, like I belong here, I'm here to stay, and I will be respected as such for the remainder of my career. And she's done the work. I know like a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of her fan base, and I feel like that conflates like their view of her. But
Sure.
like, from this standpoint of just like Liv Morgan, the performer, she has done nothing but show up to work, do her job, get better, and make the most of like every opportunity that's been given to her. And people talk about like this little reset that's happened in the division lately, and how all these women are about to jump her in line. Charlotte's coming back, Becky's coming back, blah blah blah. I think Liv Morgan showed she's a main eventer, and she's here to stay.
Definitely.
Which brings me to my number 6, someone who has also been gone for a while, and I hope to see back soon. I think she has an argument to be the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Another honorable mention to someone who I think has a claim to be the greatest of all time, Charlotte Flair. Shout out to her. She didn't make my list, but... yeah, mother, I guess. My number 6 is Asuka. Asuka, I think, was I don't know. I want to be accurate about this, but I think she's the first major like Joshi wrestler to come over from Japan and have like this level of success, and at least in the modern era, where she had an undefeated run from NXT onto like her time at the main roster that like surpassed Goldberg's undefeated streak. Like she just won and won and won and won, and like nobody's ready for Asuka. And got to the point where when she left NXT and went to the main roster, she had to vacate the title because no one could just believably beat her. And she's never gotten a WrestleMania victory, but every time that she's been champion, it's been a believable, like, best in the world, like, wrestler case person has a title. And that's, like, what wrestling should be. The best person who's the most believably, like, no one can beat them should have the championship. And when Asuka has that, it feels like it's that level of importance. And when somebody beats her, it feels like they've overcome, like, this massive hurdle. And, like, that's been so, like, important for making like a Rhea Ripley, making a Bianca Belair, making a Io and a Bayley. Like these victories like have elevated them because Asuka's that good. So shout out to Asuka. Can't wait to see you back.
Should we say our number 5 at the same time?
We have the same number 5, and it's Rhea Bloody Ripley.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley is so good.
Yeah.
Like the same way we said on the male video how Cody Rhodes is the reason why you watch wrestling, I feel like Rhea Ripley has an argument as well as someone that locked you in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's just one of those like a bad girl that you love. But she's also like super strong and is another one of those wrestlers that I think could beat anybody, like reasonably could beat anybody. I loved seeing her beat up dudes, which is something that not a lot of female wrestlers can like get into, like intergender matches.
Yeah, they treat her like she's China. Like they just like she's believably as strong and big enough to like beat up any guy on the roster, and she's like otherworldly. It felt like for a lot of the Judgment Day run that she wasn't really interacting with a ton of the women's roster, especially like when Becky was the champ or when Bianca was the champ. Like she was just like backstage wheeling and dealing and Judgment Day stuff.
Yeah.
But that time allowed her to work on her character so much and just get so over that by the time that they put the belt on her, it's just like, who's ever going to beat her for it? Like
Right.
she could believably be the champion forever.
Yeah. And now that she is interacting with the women's roster more, I feel like it gives us a chance to see other sides of her. Like her friendship with Tiffany was really cool to see. I think everybody loved that. And it's going to be cool to see now that she's champ again, who stepped up to challenge her. Because it's not going to be easy. That's for sure.
It feels like every match that we're going to get is like a dream match.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see her fight. I want Liv to get her rematch. I want Becky to get her rematch. I want to see her fight Charlotte again. But as far as like fresh new matches, Rhea Io on the main roster, Rhea versus Bianca, like they've been strategically separated forever. I want to see Rhea take on Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne, like all the new girls that are coming up. I want to see Rhea be like the gatekeeper who like, hey, you got to go through me if you want to prove yourself. And yeah, she's so young. She's going to be like the standard bearer for this division for the next decade. And her best moments still have yet to happen. So that says a lot that she's already like in our unanimous top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
Who you got at number 4?
My number 4 is Bianca Belair. And Bianca, a lot like Cody and John Cena, I feel like is one of those forever baby faces who is just like a superhero. Like that's how she is. I feel like she's someone who like kids look up to, and new wrestling fans, especially now, like with Netflix, are going to identify with. And like something about her, like you just want to see her win. Like whoever she's fighting, you want to see her succeed, and she does always. So yeah, love Bianca Belair. Love seeing her as a tag team partner, but definitely want to see her do more stuff on her own.
She's going to make an appearance on my list shortly, so I'll finish talking about her a little bit there. But my number 4 is, I feel like looking at our list, we got a lot of mix-up in our like 4, 3, 2, 1. So a lot of these will get touched on in a few seconds. But my number 4 is Bayley. I think Bayley is just perfect. I think that she can do no wrong. I came up with like babyface Bayley, NXT. She was like what you were just describing Bianca as, like the most likable person that kids could get behind, like role model, little girls. There's so many girls that are like on the indies and girls that are like wrestling currently who got their start, and like they were little girls who like wanted to be like Bayley and wear the ponytail and have the wacky wavy tube men. And this sharp, drastic turn that was her heel turn when she just became this hilarious bully where she's just mean to everyone and calling them stupid idiots and ding dong hello, and just like being her comedic timing, her selflessness. I feel like she's not always at the top of the pecking order when you have stars as big as Charlotte and Becky, and with Rhea and Bianca, it's like Bayley kind of just gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. But putting together Damage Control and being the introduction to Io and Dakota on the main roster, and like I think Damage Control, even as it still exists today and in its different forms and all the different people that have come and gone, is the greatest women's faction of all time. And that's Bayley's brainchild. Like, that can't be taken away from her. I love that she got another world champion run this year. It's unfortunate. It felt like a lot of that time she wasn't really the main focus, and she kind of got hampered by like the shortened shows and not really having a lot of time to delve into deeper stories before they moved the belt to Nia. But Bayley, she's one of those people where like talent always shines through. I think that she has still like so much more left in the tank to give wrestling. I can see her having so much success outside of the WWE after, but I know that this is like something that she loves more than anything, so I can't wait to see like how she remains involved in it for the next 40, 50 years.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you said all that because Bayley's my number 3, and I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Bailey is another like superhero type character. I remember the first Bailey match. I don't remember who she was fighting, but I remember thinking to myself like, wow, this girl can like really do this. And she does. And yeah, she's just cool. And I feel like it's cool seeing her relationship with other like superstars who have been in the business for so long. Another good like Wheatley episode with Cody was cool to like see her and her background, her relationship with Dusty. Just
Punk
like such a
and
cool,
AJ.
yeah, was just such a cool like background, and you can tell she really loves this.
She's like everyone's best friend.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and like the moments that like break kayfabe, that bleed through when we see a little bit more into like the wrestlers like as people in their personal lives. I struggle to find anyone who like doesn't love Bailey. Like
Yeah.
she's just universally adored by legends, like up and comers, people on the roster, and like I feel like just selflessly she's gone out of her way to like try and make other women like have opportunities and like put on for them. And her, along with my next person, my number 3, I think without them, like women's wrestling in the WWE would not be where it is today, and that is the man, Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Becky is just, she was the face of the company in 2019, like more so than any male superstar. That's over Roman, that's over Seth, that's over like John Cena, Randy, everyone. She was that big, and she never was supposed to be. Like she was the redheaded stepchild of the NXT girls. Like Charlotte was the main one, Sasha was the number 2, and Becky just got like what was left. She wasn't even like on Bailey's level. And they sent her over to SmackDown. Like Alexa came and like kind of took a lot of her shine.
Yeah.
And it seemed like she was just struggling, not getting over. Everyone loved her, but even the opportunities, the stories that she was getting, it seemed like they were just like giving her the gutter. And when she got over, she has not looked back since then. And she's like matured and aged gracefully, and like now she's in her like mom era where she feels like not only like a mother to her daughter, but like a mother to the locker room, where without her going to NXT, I don't feel like Tiffany Stratton feels as big of a star as she is right now. I don't feel like Lyra feels like as big of a star as she is unless she beats Becky for the NXT championship. I don't feel like NXT gets like their CW deal without Becky going there and bringing eyes to the product.
Yeah.
And like her absence since WrestleMania has been felt. Like,
oh yeah,
like Liv was the main girl this year and she did her thing, but with Rhea being gone, Charlotte being gone, Becky being gone, this was like a year for other people to step up to the plate and like fill that void. Like Bianca's been in the tag division. Like who's going to step up and show that they can be there? And no one can replace Becky Lynch.
yeah,
And the same way that we say like there will never be another Sami Zayn, I don't know that there'll ever be another Becky Lynch. And I think that her imminent return is just going to like bring so much like fresh, like new stories, new possibilities, opportunities, and eyes to the women's division. And I can't wait for her to be back. So yeah, shout out to the man.
yeah. And I'm glad that when she does come back, she'll be coming back to new opportunities for new titles. So that'll be really cool to see. We have missed Becky so much.
So much.
My number 2 is someone that you mentioned earlier, Io Sky.
The greatest wrestler on the planet.
Yeah, she's just incredible. Super talented. I feel like every time I see Io Sky do something, I'm seeing it for the first time. Like never been done before, never seen that before. Yeah, just like not enough good things to say about Io Sky. Super, super talented wrestler.
And that brings us to my number 2. I have Bianca Belair. Bianca and Rhea are like two sides of the same coin, where I feel like we take the 4 horsewomen and like their contributions, and that next class after them had so much pressure to live up to them. And like, fortunately, they got two 99 overalls who are just like, they can do all the power stuff. They can do all the, like, Bianca's so athletic. She can hit every moonsault, every 450, all the stuff that everyone else can do. And she can also pick up Otis and march around the ring with him on her shoulders. And, like, she's kind of like Rhea in that if she gets the title, who believably can beat her ever? She's perennially over as a babyface. Like, so many little girls, like, you just see them with the little ponytails and wanting to be her. She's like a superhero, and like, I feel like the same impact John Cena had on us as children, being that, like, you can always count on him to win and look dominant and look like this, like, all-conquering, super virtuous being. Bianca's that for little girls everywhere, and like, will only continue to be that. She's helped Jade get over to a huge capacity.
Yeah.
Love her dynamic with Naomi. Another honorable mention. Shout out Naomi.
Yeah.
Shout out Trinity Fatu. She's one of my favorite members of the Bloodline for sure. But yeah, Bianca Belair is just one of one. I'd say that about everyone, but like, there's so many super talented people on this roster. So.
Yeah. Incredible women's division. Well, my number one is someone who you have again mentioned already. Becky Lynch, the man. Whoa, what can't she do? We can't wait for her to come back. That's what I'm honestly looking forward to the most this year, is the return of Becky Lynch. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Every episode, I'm holding my breath, waiting for her to come back.
I feel like it's this week. I feel like this is the week that it happens. I feel like she's going to show up, and Rhea needs a new challenger. Whoever wins this women's IC title, they might be looking for somebody for her to, defend against, give it some legitimacy.
Yeah.
But, what hasn't been said about her? She literally is. She has a case for being the GOAT, the women's GOAT, and she's not done. There's more to add to her story, but
definitely
my GOAT. And like you guys have noticed, so me introducing Casey to WWE has been like our gateway to professional wrestling, and we don't really typically watch AEW like as we record. I mean, there's a couple of minutes left. We can catch Dynamite if we want to watch it. We might. We don't really get to see too much of my GOAT these days, but they can never make me hate you, Sasha Banks. Mercedes Moné, you are an excellent professional wrestler. The matches that you had with Bayley and NXT, the matches that you had with Charlotte, like the Women's Revolution, the WrestleMania main event with Bianca, I feel like everyone can claim their best matches against Sasha Banks. And I think there's stronger women on the microphone for sure. I think that there is, like, I mean, arguments can be made for like an EO or somebody in ring, but like when it comes to like the full package, the full presentation, you're gonna go out there and put on a classic match, a classic moment, and she's like a female Eddie Guerrero. Like, he's her biggest inspiration, and seeing her wrestle, she like her frog splash, her Three Amigos, I think are like the best I've seen a women's wrestler perform it. A lot of her moves, like her run over in Japan, just like wanting to explore like that side of wrestling. And I mean, if she wanted to, she's got a job in WWE if she wanted to come back. And she said, no, like, I want to go do some other things. Her work outside of wrestling, she was in The Mandalorian. Yeah, dude, like, Sasha's my GOAT. And Mercedes, even recently she had like a banger match with Chris Statlander at an AEW event, so I'll have to check out some more AEW and see like what she's up to these days. But like, wishing her all the best. She'll always be my favorite women's wrestler. And with that being said, like, that wraps up our list. Leave some comments below on more lists that you want to see us do. We can do all kinds of stuff, our favorite matches, some of our favorite promos, all kinds of stuff, whatever you guys want to see. We got plenty of content coming your way. So as always, like and subscribe, follow us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.